Hello everyone and welcome to the What's Going On in the World channel. So in today's video, we'll analyze Lebanon's recent crisis and what it means for the future of the country. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe and share it with your friends. Now let's get on with the video. Recently, Lebanon has been in the eyes of the international press due to the Beirut explosion near the port of the capital. The source of the explosion has been traced to the tons of ammonium nitrate that were stored there for over 7 years. This load was to be shipped to Mozambique a long time ago, however, the ship made a non-planned stoppage in Beirut to receive additional load. But, due to legal problems, the ship would not leave the Beirut port as planned. Then, in a very unfortunate manner, this load would be the cause of the devastating 4th of August explosion in Beirut. But this incident is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Lebanon. The country was and still is in a deep crisis for some years now, and the explosion unfortunately was in some way the final touch for the government. So before we analyze what's been going on in Lebanon, let's first do a recap in the country's history. In 1943, the country of the Middle East known as Lebanon would finally reach the so desired independence. However, this achievement didn't mean that the conflicts would end there. Between 1975 and 1990, the country would be terrorized with a civil war. After 15 years of this war, Lebanon would finally come to peace and stability. Or so it was hoped. The reality was that the country continued with serious economic and political problems, as the Lebanon pound would see a continuing devaluing through the years. Alongside that, the border with Syria would cause a lot of problems for the Lebanese. Syria refused to leave the Lebanese country, only finally leaving after decades of conflict and disagreement. However, the Syrian behavior only made life worse for Lebanon. After their retreat, Lebanese journalists and politicians would be assassinated, as well as civilians would be murdered by continuous bombings. Many conflicts already existing in the Middle East would spill over to Lebanon, leading to the Lebanese army engaging war with several extremist groups. Moreover, the country would see thousands of refugees passing the Syrian and Lebanese frontier looking for peace and safety. Finally, in 2019, the Lebanese people would show their unsatisfaction with the country's situation. After a proposal to tax gas, tobacco and phone calls through apps like WhatsApp, the people came to the street to protest against the government and their lack of solutions to solve the country's problem, as well as the new proposals. These protests would spread through all the Lebanese country and the government would find themselves concerned in a chaotic situation. The appearance of the coronavirus would only make matters worse once again. The already fragile economic situation would get even worse as business would shut down for several months. Moreover, the Lebanese central bank, after a series of unreliable actions, generated an 80% loss in value to the Lebanese pound, again aggravating the country's economical problems. The protests continued until the beginning and after the end of the lockdown, and finally, on the 4th of August, the terrible explosion took place. As I said in the beginning, the explosion was the final touch in the continued loss of faith in the political power. The protests claimed the resignation of the government, and a few days after the explosion, that's exactly what happened. So, is this actually a good thing for the Lebanese people? In my opinion, I don't think that is. The 2019 protests were in the first place the reason that led to the formation of this government. Their resignation only means more instability and more opportunities for extremist parties to gain popularity with their populist campaigns. Even though this government was full of corruption and mistrust, I think that their resignation will only bring more problems for the Lebanese people. Lebanon is now in a very fragile condition, and the future ahead doesn't seem very bright. However, we can do something to help. Due to the instability and continued corruption in the country, the safest way to help the people is by donating to the Lebanese Red Cross. I took the initiative and donated the little I can, so if you want to help, the link is in the description. So I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Once again, if you want to help Lebanon, don't forget to donate to the Lebanese Red Cross. So that's all for me, and I'll see you next video.